Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Automation Edge webinar series, ServiceNow Automation using RPA. My name is Ed Markowitz, and we'll be covering the digital experience to your employees by automating IT, HR, admin, and finance, to name a few of the departments for automation. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. All participants are on mute so that we can have a good experience for our listeners out there without interruption and noise. There is, as you can see on the right, there is a question box, so you can submit your questions that we will leave plenty of time for Q&A afterwards. And with that, let's get started. The agenda today is, we'll cover some of the business case and how to create a business case for IT and non-IT automation. And we'll move into some case studies and then a little highlight on the product itself. Then we'll move into a demo. And again, we'll leave plenty of time for Q&A. So as the journey started, and if we roll back the clock, 30 or 40 years, it really started with help desk, really to create a form of structure to support the organization out there who leverages IT. Then as IT matured, we really became IT as a service. And the service desk became more of an IT service management discipline guided by ITIL, and therefore brought more structure and more value for IT, delivering service excellence to the business. And again, the last maturity level that we are here today is more about the enterprise service management, not just for IT, but how do we leverage the investment with ServiceNow's IT service management platform and extend that out to the enterprise. So typically, an example of a onboarding process, and as you can see, there's many swim lanes. There's a lot of handoffs between humans, if you will. So human capital is being leveraged and used for repeatable and I'll say mundane tasks that can be automated. So one view is, how do we take the robot out of the humans so that we can start to do more knowledge work, strategic work, analytical work, and free us up from these repeatable manual processes. And here's an example of what an employee onboarding service request would look like. And really what Gartner states is that, as you can see in the prior slide, that many handoffs, a lot of human capital is being used. And Gartner feels that for the digital transformation to really take hold, we need to reduce and remove those simple, repeatable tasks, and more of a service automation orchestration approach should be and is could be leveraged for future enterprise service management initiatives. Some of the trends that we see is certainly, as Forrester looks at, ITPA is being adopted because organizations are really maturing at a rapid pace, especially with the digital transformation initiatives, like NRPA is certainly part of that. And IT is going to deliver more complex, more cross-domain business value services. And also, as Forrester mentions, there'll be 4 million bots by the time of 2021. So it really basically states that automation is a key initiative to help organizations realize a enterprise service management type initiatives in the organizations and the customers that are leveraging ServiceNow as their IT service management platform. Here's what is a sample, if you will, of the service requests that could possibly be automated, and therefore lowering the costs, increase productivity, avoid the rework, which is very costly, and really most importantly is increase customer sat and employee satisfaction. All you need to do is really look inside your database, if you will, of service requests. Which ones are the ones that are constantly being leveraged at a monthly basis? And these are great candidates for automation. We took a $20 number for an offshore resources to handle a service request. And then so by automating and bringing a better customer experience so to achieve service delivery excellence, all you need to do again, look at your repository, look at the service requests that can be automated, and therefore provide a much better service, increase customer sat, and things in this nature to achieve the maturity and to really drive a business case to show leadership how you plan on being an efficient IT service management organization. This slide is very powerful because it really talks about not only IT process automation, which is needed for a end-to-end enterprise workflow, but how robotic process automation really has a role in bringing it all together to accomplish a given automation of an enterprise process, like onboarding, right? From an HR point of view, leverage the ServiceNow platform via a service request and work that automation both from an IT process automation point of view and a robotic process automation point of view. We certainly enjoy being the only RPA provider in both the Gartner market guides for IT process automation as well as robotic process automation. So we work very hard to have both of these disciplines within the one solution from AutomationEdge within the robotic process automation space. We also enjoy a technology partnership with ServiceNow, where we are certified on the platform. So we went through all of the requirements to achieve this milestone in becoming a technology partnership, in the ability to put our solution in the ServiceNow store. And we feel very fortunate to achieve this. And again, I believe we are the only or one of the only RPA solution providers who reside in the ServiceNow store to help you, the ServiceNow customers, to achieve the intelligent enterprise-wide automation. So we're very proud of that fact, and we enjoy that relationship very much with ServiceNow. With no further ado, I'd like to hand this session over to Himanshu, who will walk you through some use cases, show you some case studies, the architecture of the product, and a demo as well. So Himanshu, thank you very much. It's all yours.
Thank you, Ed, for that intro. So let us get started with some of the use cases, case studies, and architecture. So as Ed said in a couple of slides back, that your help desk turned into IT desk and then IT desk turned into service desk. So while this transformation took place, we could actually achieve a lot of things with this transformation. And that is where the combination of use of these technologies comes into the picture. So let's take a look at few of these case studies. One of the simple or more frequently used one is employee onboarding, which all of you use in your enterprise organizations. Now, let's say that you get an employee onboarding request. More often than not, your employee onboarding request will involve talking to multiple different systems. Now, these systems may either have API or backend access where we can use IT automation, or it might not have, or you might not have access to APIs due to some reasons. In that case, using this approach allows you to switch over to RPA or UI automation to get these things done. A similar example can be seen on the screen right now, where you can see that once an employee onboarding request, service request comes through, AutomationEdge can either call individual or combined automated workflows. A workflow is nothing but an automated task or a job. Once these tasks or automated workflows are called, It talks to various target systems to perform the required actions, like Oracle HRMS or Microsoft Exchange, Office 365, Google Suite, ADP, etc. Once these actions are complete, along with exception handling and management of validation, the ticket is finally updated in ServiceNow to give you an end-to-end automation experience. Another example, which is more on the IT side of things, is where you can also automate incidents. In this digital era, the number of incidents that are happening are growing as we speak. So it is very important to keep a track of all of these incidents to basically keep the lights on. So in this case, this is a similar example where we are talking about remediation of diskful event of Azure virtual machine. So in this case, what happens is, in case your Azure VM gets overutilized, a disk in your virtual machine gets overutilized, an alert is automatically generated. Now, if that is a heavy use machine, your employees might have to wait for a while till the disk can be deployed or extended. But with automation, this can be taken care of seamlessly. Where, let's say, an application like SolarWinds creates or raises a alert which results into creating of ticket in ServiceNow. Once the ticket is created in ServiceNow, the assignment of ticket can be done to automation queue. Based on the approval of the ticket, remediation action on Azure system is done using ready action bots, which is API action in this case, and ServiceNow ticket is updated with it being in progress. And finally, we have target system actions done where we expand the disk or attach a disk as per the requirement of the specific use case. Finally, again, as a end result, you will get a ticket updation in terms of closure of the ticket. All this being said, as you can see, end-to-end automation does not mean just talking with IT systems, but also includes approvals, uh, compliance, and audit logging. So using all of these things, or complying with all of these things, can be easy when it falls under a single platform where Automation Edge can help. Another more creative type of use case which I would like to discuss today is about a software request portal, where what we have done is we have created a portal for software request where an employee can go to the portal, which is built within your service desk, needless to mention. So the employee can go to the portal, simply click on the application which he or she desires to install. Based on the approval, the application is then provisioned in the backend and a link is given to the user to download the software. So not just are you getting faster turnaround times or automate or following of compliance, but you are also going to get more innovative ideas or digital initiatives that you can basically use within your organization. Other use case which I would like to discuss is more about enterprise-wide adoption of automation, or I would like to call it as how you can adopt automation across your enterprise, which spawns across different systems. So, for instance, now we have rolled out automation with some of our clients in different phases, just as an example. So you can see that first phase we have done simpler automations, where we can talk about ID management on Active Directory, Omnidocs EDMS, Oracle FlexCube, IBM VPN, Microsoft CRM, or RPA things where we generate MBSA report, or even network and security things like Proofpoint or Triton. As phase two, we start dealing with more complex things in which we can talk about network and data center things like server health checks, managing health check alerts across different OS operating systems, data transfers, dealing with user accounts, internet publishing, data sharing, password resets. You can always use COE, which is Center of Excellence model of delivery, when there is a large scope for automation in any organization. 60% of the use cases have already been completed, where a total of 103 use cases are to be automated. So this talks on a lot about how enterprise-wide automation can spawn across different genres within your organization. So this is again a leading bank in Middle East, where you can see the type of improvements they have got. So I'll not go into details of each of these, but just to give a quick brief on this, you can see that the client has always got more than 90% improvement in turnaround time, and in most cases it is nearing to 100. So if we take a simple example of Windows password reset, 800 tickets per month with 9 minutes of savings per ticket, that goes to 7,200 minutes. So 7,200 minutes, which is a 120 hours of your service desk engineer save from doing repetitive and mundane tasks. So there can be other examples of IT processes as well. So in employee onboarding, you can delete token from active identity token, or access management on Box, alias management on Microsoft Exchange, device management on AirWatch, like a device wipe, delete user, enterprise wide wipe, etc., or onboarding and offboarding for Cisco WebEx, like deleting user or telephony access. So talking a bit more about telephony access, if we see the type of uh, benefits that have been achieved, where there have been high cost savings due to end-to-end automation, 100% elimination of errors has been achieved, reduced processing time where we could reduce almost 50% in processing, and of course there is compliance, which where you will get complete auditability and traceability on the actions that are performed. So just a quick recap of architecture. With RPA with Automation Edge is no different than what you would see. But what we do is we believe in keeping the process flexible, where you can easily take input from various different sources like solar winds, as we saw earlier in one of the examples. It could be spreadsheets. You would want us to read emails, get data from a web form, or of course your ServiceNow instance, and you can enter data into various different systems. You can use business applications, you can enter data into business applications, IT systems, legacy systems, Amazon EC2, Azure, Office 365, using ready bots as well. What Automation Edge does is it sits in between these two to do rule based decision making. What this means in simple terms is it is going to do the heavy lifting for you, where it will follow the logic, it will follow certain criteria that has defined, run validations across your data, do exception handling if any. So it's a seamless end-to-end experience. And the best part, as I said, is the process is flexible. So you can actually do this the exact reverse way, where you can start your automation from a business application or any of these IT systems and end it at any of the input sources. That is also completely possible. Talking about the platform, or a quick recap of the platform again, the platform itself consists of tasks. Multiple tasks come together to form a unit process, and multiple bots or multiple digital workers, robots, run together to form the robot farm architecture. Tasks are divided into two parts: ready tasks and task building. Ready tasks are our ready bots, where you can talk with different IT systems like Active Directory, EC2, or even legacy systems like AS400, etc. And in task building, you can build UI automations or command line or scripting, or even some cognitive elements are there. In deployment, you have options like on-premise, on-cloud, or RPA as a service, which works exactly like software as a service. And when you're talking about automation, only sky is the limit. You can see a couple of examples here, but only sky is the limit in this case into as to what you can automate and what you can achieve using automation. End target is to achieve end-to-end digital process, where you can give your customers, employees, vendors, or channel partners a digital rich experience. So finally, just to sum up, Automation Edge is a platform for the digital enterprise which goes beyond RPA. Not only can it do only IT automation or robotic process automation, as we have seen in last two webinars, it can go beyond that, even giving you efficiency in data handling with inbuilt technologies like OCR, ETL, or big data connector. And of course, you also get cognitive abilities. So a relevant example which I can discuss here is that about automatic ticket classification. So let's say you get a mail. Now your engineers have to invest a lot of time reading that entire mail and then classifying that data. But with ready AI bots like automatic ticket classification, Automation Edge can read the mail, parse it, understand it, automatically classify it, and assign it to a certain support group or a business group. So all of these things can be done automatically using cognitive abilities of the tool. You get rapid API integration, ReadyBots architecture, and drag and drop automation as the core part or core strategy of this tool, which makes it really easy and flexible to use it within your enterprise. So this is a partial list of some of our clients who are doing both IT and non-IT process automation using their respective service desks. So you can see logos like Airbus, American Express, Coty, Cadence, Hermes, and others. So now that we have seen what the case studies are and what the product can do regarding its capabilities, let us jump into the demo. Before that, a quick reminder about F3 RPA bot. So Automation Edge has an offer ongoing where you can get one free bot per enterprise for use with ServiceNow, where you can automate IT and non-IT requests. So now let's start with the demo. Now what you can see on your screen is your ServiceNow console. Here we have gone into the service catalog. What we are going to do is we are going to show you some components of employee onboarding today. As we discussed earlier, employee onboarding has a lot of elements that are involved with it. But today what we are going to do is we are just going to show you three activities as part of employee onboarding. What we'll do is we'll create a user in Office 365, then assign a business license to that user, and finally we will create a Salesforce account for that user. Now, creating a Salesforce account can either be done using APIs if you have enterprise version of the platform. But let's say if you have something like professional version, which we'll be demoing today, then instead of doing those things manually, you can simply get them done using the RPA technology or UI automation. So let's go ahead and get into the use case. So I've gone into AE employee onboarding. Let me enter the details that are required here. Right, so let's call it ServiceNow demo user. I'm going to give a sample domain here and let us say order now. Now, since we need to approve the request first before it can start getting automated, let us go to requests here. Let us approve this. Right, so now we can see that the request has been approved. Let me quickly log into the Automation Edge console where I can show you if the request has been taken up. So I'm logging into the web console now. This is the console where you can deal with all Automation Edge related administrative activities. So very soon we'll be able to see that a new request will be taken up. So here you can see that the request has actually already completed. So let us go ahead and refresh the list of users. Right, and you can see that a new user has been created, ServiceNow demo user, with the described domain and the business premium license. So if I click on this, we'll be able to see that the user has been given all the necessary rights to start using his account. Now the next part which I want to show, I want to showcase it using this Process Studio, which is the Automation Edge's design tool or development tool. As we discussed earlier, everything is drag and drop. So on the left hand side, you can see multiple different plugins talking to different systems or different type of systems. This is just a demo instance and definitely not the exhaustive list. So you can see that we have just dragged and drop a couple of plugins and we have tried to design this use case. So in parameters, let us define a couple of things. So again, let us call this ServiceNow demo user one. Let's call this demo user 101 and let's say okay. And let me try and run this. So let us save it. So now you will see the browser opening up and the user being created automatically. So you can see that the bot has now opened the web page. It is logging in. All of this, what you are seeing, has been done without writing a single line of code and just using out of the box plugins. We can define all these things where we can tell the bot what to look for, how can it look for a certain element, what are the options that can be used in doing these things, and all of these facets can be dealt with. The bot is smart enough to understand that it has to wait for a page until a page is specifically loaded. So you can see it is navigating through the required process where it is gone till creating new user. Now it will enter the data that we entered in parameters. So it is entering all these details. And now, okay, I have actually given one more, I have actually kind of entered wrong input in this case, but as you could see, all of these things can be done without having to essentially do any coding as such. So just to quickly mention what went wrong, first name should not have space in it. That is the validation which wasn't done. As a result, it handled that exception and told that the user cannot be created as a result of failing of that specific request. So that being said, that was it from the presentation and the demo side. Now we would like to get question and answer. We would like to get questions from you, and we would like to answer them. So we are now opening up the session for Q&A. So we have one question where it has been asked that what is the difference between using other RPA tools compared to Automation Edge to integrate with ServiceNow? So that is a good question. As we showed in one of the slides, the Automation Edge wheel, that is precisely the answer to this question. So most of the RPA tools out there, if not all, rely on singular technologies of robotic process automation, which is nothing but UI automation. Now, in most of the cases, while if you have access to your IT accounts or API accesses backend, uh, RPA is not going to be the most efficient approach. So as you could see, while we're creating a user in Salesforce, it has to navigate through different web pages, wait for it to get rendered, and then create the user and close. If we can do the same thing using API, all of this pain is saved. You can directly hit the target and do it using backend access, which means not only that your task will be done faster, it also allows you a higher scope of multitasking. That being said, of course, there are other benefits as well where we have apps built right into ServiceNow. We have integrations built for ServiceNow in forms of plugins, which we showcased in the demo section in Process Studio. So there are multiple factors that differentiate us from other RPA vendors out there in the market. And of course, I encourage you to write to us if you want more details, and we can get back to you with all the differentiators and what is the type of advantage you get using Automation Edge over other vendors. Okay, so one more question is, do you have local partners across different geographies, specifically in US and Europe? So the answer to that is yes, we do have partners spread across globally who know the region, who understand the market, and we definitely work with partners. You can get in touch with any of the partners if you are interested in Automation Edge, and we can definitely work together to give you the solution for your specific requirement. Okay, so one more question which I have got is, does this solution work with custom built solutions? So yeah, the answer again is yes. Now, as we have been seeing throughout today's webinar, you have two types of approaches. to automate anything. Talking on a very broad level, one is your IT process, which is API access or talking to the database directly, backend access as we call it, and the other is UI automation. So using either one of these, it is definitely possible to automate even custom built or for that matter homegrown applications if there is any requirement as such. Okay, so there is one question about what if I want to do a POC? What is the process to engage and how does this work? So I think I would like Ed to take this one and talk about this a bit.
Yes. Hey, thanks so much, and thanks for the question. Certainly, yeah, we certainly support PLCs. It's really a matter of kind of connecting, listening to your use case, if you will, talk about the business requirements, and then set up a session where we will go into a further discovery to understand the effort of the PLC, and then we can certainly, move swiftly into supporting your intelligent automation initiatives through a use case by a PLC. So all you would need to do is either get in touch with me, and as you can see, my email address is on the screen. You can reach us at info@automationedge.com, and then we'll be gladly to quickly get on a call and support that PLC for your organization. So thank you for the question.
Hey, thanks, Ed. The next question which we have is around data migration. So essentially, what the question says is, can this be used to migrate data from different systems, and can some of these systems be legacy systems, or even migrating data between different ERP suites? So the answer is yes. In fact, RPA proves to be a great assistant when doing data migrations. With automation is just philosophy of using best of both worlds technology between backend access and APIs. This becomes even more effective. So that the answer to your question in short is yes. And to answer a specific part from your question which talks about legacy systems, I would also like to say that yes, definitely we can do it. We have the ability to talk with legacy systems, and then using our existing plugins, you can migrate data from legacy systems to newer systems as well. Okay, we are getting a build-up question here which asks, can we use Automation Edge to migrate data from other service desk solution to ServiceNow? So again, the answer to this is yes. You can use this to migrate all types of data between two service desks. So let's say you're using some other service desk and you are planning to shift to ServiceNow and wondering about data migration. We can definitely help you with data migration between different service desks too. And I would simply like to state that it is much efficient economically as well as efforts wise to do data migration using automation platforms than outsourcing it to a vendor or contract based event essentially. Okay, so one question I have on FreeBot is what is the limitation with F3 bot, or what is the limitation with the FreeBot? So that is the great part out of it, where there is no limitation on the F3 bot as such. When you're talking about its access to features, all of the features of Automation Edge are made available to F3 bot users in its full capacity. So there is no restriction on which features you can use from Automation Edge. If you are using F3 bot, the platform is completely open to you. One more question which we have is around licensing model. So the question says that most of your competitors have a la carte type of pricing where we have to pay for each of the components separately. Does your platform have a similar pricing model? So the answer is no. That is where we really differ. Where if you actually buy a bot, then all other components of the platform, like the process studio which you saw, the web administration tool which you saw, the basic RPA plugins, and all of the standard stuff comes to you as a part of the license. You don't have to buy each of these things separately. You can start using the entire platform just with the bot license. Okay, so the next question we have is, can you talk a bit more about the cognitive capabilities? So I would really like to talk a lot on cognitive capabilities, and since it's actually quite a large topic, we have reserved a separate webinar for it, which, as you can see on your screen, says on 9th of October, where you can learn about how you can leverage Automation Edge's cognitive abilities to uh, tune or fine tune ServiceNow to be even more efficient. So I encourage you to go ahead and register for that webinar if you haven't done so yet. Okay, so I have a question which is on moreover how easy it is to use Automation Edge. So it's actually very simple. Even your business analysts or IT people can definitely use Automation Edge, but even business analysts or not deeply technical people can also use Automation Edge thanks to its drag and drop type of approach. We have trainings which we conduct at regular intervals, which are free to our existing partners or onboarded clients, which is a remote training that is done with 4 days a week, where you can learn all about Automation Edge and how to start using Automation Edge. So it is very easy, and you can always get in touch with us for any support that you require. And training is also available, as I just mentioned. Okay, so one question which I've got is currently we are using multiple systems to do a lot of tasks which you mentioned. And in that case, the pain which we are having is we are needing to use a lot of different tools to do so. And then there are scattered reports and the compliance is becoming a challenge. Can RPA and specifically Automation Edge help in these type of scenarios? So I think, sir, you have just mentioned, or I would say you have just hit the jackpot if you want to use automation platform for these type of solutions. Because with our approach, since you are asking specifically about Automation Edge, with our approach of having a expandable and flexible platform, you can make all of your requests flow through ServiceNow. So it can be a IT request, it can be a finance and accounting, it can be HR, it can be legal, admin, any sort of request. As it talked about in one of the earlier slides, any type of request can be routed through ServiceNow, which allows you to have one central place where you can have all of these logs done right at one place. Compliance becomes much easier. Automation Edge also comes with its own analytics and reporting tool, which you can use, which again you get complimentary along with the license which you purchase for the bot. And what this does is it kind of creates an umbrella for all of your systems, with service now being at the center of your ecosystem, and gives you a centralized control over the entire ecosystem that is being used in your widespread enterprise organization. Okay, so the next question I have is about demo and trials. So yes, Automation Edge does give you trials where you can actually use Automation Edge by yourself. You can try it yourself. You can either get a cloud trial, which is where you will be given a tenant on RP as a service model, or you can get an on-premise trial as well, where you will be able to essentially try each and every component of Automation Edge as per your ease, and then once you're comfortable with it, it can go ahead to the next stages as per the requirement. So a question which I'm getting is about activities. So I'm assuming this is about ready actions. So do you keep on updating your ready actions, and will you is there a plan to release the new one? So yes, definitely, ma'am, there is a plan to release new plugins, and we also keep on updating new plugins. The idea behind Automation Edge is to give you a safe and secure automation platform. So we keep on updating the plugins as and when necessary, as per the new releases on the target systems, in terms of security patches, in terms of features and everything. And we definitely keep on using target. We keep on targeting newer systems so that our existing clients and prospective clients can keep on automating more and more systems, by directly using this. Okay, so one more question I have, which is probably the last one we can take, is about is there support for scripting within the product if we want to fine tune something? So definitely, Process Studio comes with its own scripting plugins as well, including Python and R, which we'll talk about in the next webinar. So what this does is it allows you to fine tune an automation if required, or if you want to assimilate some existing scripts that are already in your organization that are working in silos, and you want to get them all under one roof, then definitely, as I said in one of the earlier questions, it will create an umbrella over them. So scripting support is natively present in Automation Edge, and you can leverage it to harness the power of your automation, or to make your automation even more powerful. So I think we are almost on top of the hour. Back to you, Ed.
Okay, Himanshu, thank you so much. And thank you for the attendees for joining today's webinar. We, again, as Himanshu mentioned, we will have our machine learning, AI, and automation webinar on October 9th, aligned to the ServiceNow platform. If you have further questions, please keep submitting them, and then we will revert back to you. And again, thanks very much, and have a great rest of the morning, afternoon, and evening. Thank you.